I'm just so glad to see you. It was like 3 months ago, I think we saw each other.
It's been a while, and it's been so great to hear your updates and to see you on Facebook. And yeah,
It's
yeah.
like it's almost like I want to cry when I see you out of happiness. Because
Yay!
you really you helped me to change my life in a very, very beautiful direction.
I'm
And
so glad.
yeah, and this is why I really want to get the message out, because what you do is absolutely amazing.
Thank you. I'm so glad that it resonated with you, and I'm so happy for you. That's why I do this work. When people are ready,
Yeah.
ooh, it's magical.
Yeah. And that was something you told me. You were like, you said that I had opened the door a little bit, and you said when you can open it up, like really, it will be magical. And I believe this is what happened.
Yeah. Hooray! Hooray! It is. And when you believe it and you take the steps to follow it, it's magical.
Yes. Yes. Is that more because you encouraged me to come from my heart more than logic?
Yeah.
And is that something that you tell a lot of people to actually start to come from the heart? Is that when the magic start to happen?
Yes, it is, because there's so much we can talk ourselves into anything using our brain, but that's often not in alignment with what our heart is asking for. And when we can slow down and really tap into that feminine energy, then I really think magic happens, because in our cultures right now, it's so male dominated, and it's all about the thinking mind, which is great. We need that too. Yet we're forgetting the heart aspect.
And it's the male energy is when we do the planning the whole time, right?
Right,
We're very
exactly.
goal
And we
oriented.
need that. We
Yeah.
absolutely need that. It's just we tend to stay in that mode. It's the doing mode. Like, okay, now this is next, this is next, this is next. Yet in that, when you want to connect with your heart, you can't be in that doing mode all the time. It just, well, at least I haven't figured out how to do that.
But that is so beautiful. And that is something I remember from our first session, that you said to me, like, things will definitely start to happen, and they will happen kind of the things you would like to have in your life, they will happen. They may not happen the way you want them to happen.
Yes. And when you're open to that, that's huge. Because when you think it has to be this way, this is what I've envisioned, then that still keeps the door closed.
Yeah.
It's when we can open and say, all right, here are my desires, this is what I want, and all right, this or something better.
Yes. Yes. So when we come from the heart, is that more when we find our true selves? Is that the soul? Because this is really what I want to talk to you about: the soul, how we plan the life, and why we are here, and also the channeling that you do with the spirit babies that everybody just needs to know about.
It is fascinating.
Yes,
I never thought I'd be doing this, but here I am. You know, I think when we can tap into that heart aspect of us, that I truly believe that's our true essence. That's where part of it resonates in us.
Yeah.
There are different cultures that talk about the fourth chakra, the heart chakra, being kind of the main chakra. It integrates, the upper three chakras that are more spiritually inclined, and the lower three chakras, which are more physically inclined. So it really, it has, and there's research that shows, there's so much that goes on in the heart, and it has its own mind, so to speak. And yeah, yep. Short answer, yes.
Because this is what I say in my own life, because I can relate to my own life, and after everything that you taught me, because it made such a huge difference, Nancy. It really, really did. And I remember after one of our sessions, you asked me to start to journal, and I used to journal a lot when I was younger. Then I stopped for many, many years.
Yeah.
And he said to me that I was gonna write down the top 3 things that my inner child was upset about. And it was I remember texting you the same night. I was like, I've been journaling for 2.5 hours, and what came through when I was journaling that night, it was shocking to me. I had no idea about the things that my inner child was upset about.
Yep.
And the knowing, and start to tap in and really listen to that inner aspect, it's made a huge difference. So I listen to that voice every single day, and all of a sudden I can manifest stuff so easily in my life right now.
Oh, I love hearing that. I absolutely love hearing that, because I mean, it is magic. It is magic.
Yeah, sorry.
And sometimes it is about timing. We may have everything lined up, and the timing may be a year or two down the road, or even longer. And can we still keep the door open? Can we still come from our heart? Because we know somewhere that it's all going to line up, and come into alignment for us, and I would say the greater good.
Yeah. And that makes a huge difference too, right? When you start to focus, instead of saying like the whole time, what can I gain from it? When you start to look at it, what can I do for the highest good?
Every day, that's what I talk about, whether it's, I'm out at the grocery store, or taking a hike and running into someone, out there and saying hello. For me, it's about, and I'm getting choked up talking about this. It's not just about me. Because when it's just about me, then I'm being very focused and narrow. This is more about the collective. What can I do? What gifts do I have to bring to the world?
Yeah.
And even if, and it starts with us, because as we increase our vibration and we are more in alignment, then everyone around us is going to feel that. And so there is this effect that just happens when we're working on ourselves. I choose to make it a conscious effort to expand beyond just me, and to, whether it's the community I live in, or whether it's the whole world. Like even last night I was saying, because I live in Berkeley in California, so I'm talking about the people in Berkeley, and then the people in California, and then the people in the US, and then I was doing people all over the world. It's a habit now.
Because we are connected, right? So not all people may know this, and some of the people that are watching this may have no idea. Like when I started to talk to you, I had no idea about these things, but I just got so interested and so hungry. So I really, really studied.
Yes.
We are all connected, right? With the source energy and with all the people. And that's the reason why we can attract the people that are right for us in this very moment, right?
Exactly. I mean, one metaphor that you can use is like the internet, right? We're pretty much connected to anyone and everyone we want to be. That's the same with our energy as humans, is that we can connect with different people all over the world. I know there have been certain people that I just connect with, and I'm like, I know you from somewhere. Like this is an instant connection, and there's no past history that I can think of that would make that happen or seem realistic from my analytical point of view. So we're all connected, and even sometimes I'll see little grid lines in my visualizations, little energy lines from here to South Africa and different parts of Europe and Asia, and it's fascinating.
It really, really is fascinating.
It totally is.
And some people we are supposed to meet, right? Like in this lifetime, because they're going to help us to really grow.
Yes. And I wonder if I'm going to see if I have this quote. Here it is. Okay. And it says, I can't remember exactly where I got. Oh, it may have been from Pinterest. But when it's time for souls to meet, there's nothing on earth that can prevent. Let me start over. When it's time for souls to meet, there's nothing on earth that can prevent them from meeting, no matter where each may be located.
Yeah.
And it's just, I truly believe that. If there's someone you really, really are supposed to meet, then you will.
Yeah.
Okay, there. I got how do I get my screen back up? All right, good enough. I can see you.
Some of the people we meet with, right? Because in my life now, I really tune in. Oops, now you're back. with some people, I really, have had that feeling that these people I really have to connect with, and these people have without even knowing it, but really pushed my buttons, you know, all the spots in me. So it really, really forced me to grow, and it made my growth, yes, so rapidly. So it's like amazing. What other people live in like 3 years, I live in one day right now, because it goes so fast every
Yes. Because you're ready. You've opened the door, not just even one door. I see all these doors around you just open. And that happens for some of us. When that happens, when I see that happen, and I'm the, you know, kind of a guest to see this, it just makes me so happy, because that is when the flow happens. That is when you manifest like that. It's phenomenal.
Yeah. So if people are watching this right now and they are like, okay, my life is just horrible, or I don't know what to do next, or what would you encourage people to do to just begin their journey? So for the beginners, and then for the more advanced people, what would your advice be for those?
There are a lot of different things that people can do. The first thing, especially if you're a beginner, is to catch yourself when you're always in your mind. You know, can you even feel your heart? Can you feel any part of your body? Are you aware of your feet on the ground? Can you go out in nature and take a few deep breaths and really like connect with your body? Can you say hello to your left elbow? Can you, you know, there's all these little things, because we're so outward focused that my recommendation is always to learn how to turn inward at least a little bit. So often that is, you know, something totally physical, like our body, very concrete. We can feel our body, but we tend not to focus on it. We tend not to put attention on there. So that's one thing. Another thing, if someone has some level of awareness and they know that their thinking is not the way they want it to be, then I would encourage them to catch their thoughts. And then to see how to, like, a lot of people use the word should, and that has a really heavy connotation. Has a heavy energy. And I encourage people to catch that word and to find another way to say that phrase that has a higher vibration, that is more positive, like, oh, I can choose to do this instead of I should do that. I get to choose whether or not I want to do this, which is a huge difference. Yeah. So yeah, depending on where people are, there's so many different things you could do. And if someone's well on their way, I mean, wow. I mean, you can do whatever you want. You can catch the thoughts. You can do more energy work. You can focus on your inner child every day. You can come from your heart. You can, the list goes on and on.
Because what happens in our lives, it has a purpose, right? Because I know that you found this path when you wanted to get pregnant with your second daughter. This is when you found your truth.
This is where I delved in deep. Absolutely. Yes. And I never would have thought I'd be here.
Yeah.
And so I opened up to a realm that was not like my everyday realm. You know, and I remember Walter McKitchen saying to me, Nancy, if you could have thought your way through this fertility issue, you would have.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I would have, because I was so used to doing and getting the result I wanted.
Yeah. I was exactly the same. But that was so good. You know, talking to you and understanding there was a bigger power, and you know, I want to cry. But yes, that understanding, and what would you help me realize, because I was in so much doubt. I told you the first time we met, I said, I know I'm going to be a mom, but at that point, it was just a feeling, like the knowing, but my brain, you know, there were 5 years of just being disappointed every month. Right. So then you kind of stop believe. One part of you knows, but the other part of you is saying, no, it's not going to happen. So what you do is actually like you channel the baby spirits. And when you got in contact with my baby spirits, that gave me so much hope. It became real, and it helped me to relax and just to know even more that it was going to come about one day when I was ready and when the children were ready.
Yep. There's so many factors that play into bringing in a child, and we don't talk about them for the most part. It's usually just the physiology that we talk about. It's like, okay, the sperm count there, are the egg quality there, all right, let's go, and of course some more things, but there's so much more.
Yeah. So what is your view? What is your point of view from everything you do when Shannon, because here in Sweden, before I found you, I tried to find somebody in Sweden who knew this kind of work. There's nothing, absolutely nothing. And even on internet around the world, I couldn't find that many people. And when I found you, it was just my intuition telling you that you were the right person. But so what is your point of view for what you do? How can you, does every woman have a spirit baby around, or how does it work?
I don't think everyone does. I think my philosophy is, and my worldview is, that we have more than one lifetime. Because being a human, it's just too hard. So we get to work on certain things in different lifetimes. And I think there are lifetimes where spirit babies may not be around someone. They have something else that they're here to do. Maybe they're here to help other children come in. Maybe they're here to start a business. There's lots of other things that can happen. When someone comes to me wondering if there's a spirit baby and they feel like they're supposed to be a mom, in my personal experience, I've always seen a spirit baby. Every once in a while, it takes a session. It might take a session to clear out the clutter before I can see a spirit baby, but that's very rare. So if someone feels like there's a spirit baby around, chances are there are, at least one around. Does not necessarily mean they'll get pregnant with that child, because there are so many factors that play in. But in my personal and professional experience, everyone who's come to me and asking for a spirit baby, I've always been able to see at least one.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
And probably those women that do come to you, they do have a strong intuition and that knowing.
Oftentimes, yes. And then every once in a while, there is someone who's like, am I supposed to be a mom? Do I even really want to be a mom? And I think part of what they're being kind of that tug is, there are spirit babies around them. They don't necessarily have to come in, but it's a choice. Do you want to have children? Because there are some around you. And if you don't, that's okay. They can come in, maybe as a niece or a nephew, or in another way, or in another lifetime. So there's so many different ways to look at this. It's totally.
And again, when we look at it that way, it brings the relaxation in a bit more as well.
It can, if you're open to it. But if you need to control it all and have your analytical brain be able to grasp this, this is not something that's easily grasped by the by the analytical mind. At least it wasn't for me. Like I really had to open up to the belief that there are many things in this world that we can't see, that are not concrete. And science is showing us more and more, right? That everything is energy, and there's all these connections, and there's more out there than we know. And so science is catching up, which is great, because I think that helps those of us who are skeptical.
Yeah. And you see, when we get to that understanding, it helps our whole life so much.
It so does. I mean, that just makes my whole body, have this like chill sensation when you see that, because it does. It really. And even if we go through periods of time where there's doubt, or that things aren't manifesting the way that we want them to, can we still have that, hold that trust and that hope and that desire and the knowing that, yep, things are unfolding. It's just on a different timeline than I wanted.
Yeah.
Can we be okay with that?
And the spirit, because something I've been thinking about. So when you do feel the spirit babies, because I've been reading a lot of books, and Michael Newton, I guess you know Michael Newton. So he was a very famous hypnotherapist, written a lot of books about.
I don't know if I know him.
Okay, so that's very interesting. So he has written books about how we plan the lives, he has been hypnotizing a lot of people, and then he's been writing about it. So he goes back to past lives and life in between lives. And
Oh, yes, yes. Okay. Yes.
and so what I'm wondering, because he is saying that it is like the spirit comes to a room where they have a lot of guides, and then they look at TV screens almost, what kind of body they're going to choose and what kind of life they're going to choose. So when you channel the spirit babies, in what process, in what level of this spirit thing are they? Have they already chosen? Of course, they have chosen the mom if you're channeling the baby to the mom, but have they already chosen the body, or where are they in their development? Do you understand?
I do understand, and that's a fascinating question because I've never quite looked at it that way. From the way I look at it, I think that they have at least an idea of what the body that they want is, because I think that's part of the reason there's the miscarriages with people who come to me. That's why sometimes there's they're not coming in because they're waiting for a certain type of body that's going to work for them. Or if there are, oftentimes I see more than one spirit baby. So maybe, whoever comes in, it's going to depend on the body. So they're waiting to see, what's available. But it is, when you were talking about the room, and even as I'm saying it and thinking about it, the room with the TV channels and choosing, I 100% agree with that. And I've even started thinking about what my next lives could be like and the type of body. And interestingly, I'm somewhere in Scandinavia. That's one of them. And I'm I'm definitely taller than I am now, and I'm stronger, bigger build. Or I'm in Africa as a male. So those are my two that I see so far, and who knows what will happen. But absolutely, we can even start working on that this lifetime. We don't have to. We don't have to wait until we're in the. I do it, and I had a mentor who taught us how to do that. So.
Really fascinating.
Yeah, so the babies, it's fascinating that you asked that question. And again, I haven't put a ton of thought to it. But I also think that the different babies need different things. So some of them may still be with their guides trying to work out what's going on. And the guides and the angels, whoever, are around, may need to usher them in more and more. I see that for sure. And some of the babies seem totally ready. They're like, all right, I'm here, let's go. So yeah, fascinating question. That's one I'm definitely going to think about more.
I analyze this stuff so much because it fascinates me. It's amazing just how the life works, and the soul. That is what I wrote to you before. That we are here on planet Earth to raise our consciousness, right? To help the soul to get better and better. Somebody described it as a school, kind of. You start with the first grade, and then you graduate for every lifetime, hopefully.
Yes.
So what is your point of view?
Definitely, that's my point of view. There are some lifetimes that I think that almost can, where we can accumulate a lot of karma, and that can keep us stagnant and maybe even bring us down a little bit. Like in terms of, all right, we were already in kindergarten once, but guess what? Even though we're supposed to be in second grade, I think you need to learn what was in kindergarten again. There's certain things like that I feel can happen. I don't know exactly, but I believe there are these kind of bands of learning that we have. And there are levels within those bands of learning. And then you get, and our consciousness raises as we keep going through each of the bands. And as we get to the highest level or the highest band, then absolutely, that's where you find the most people who are aware, etc. However, the people who teach this may not be the most aware. They may be, higher up there, but the people who are most aware tend to be much more less of the go-getters, less of the, I don't know if that makes sense, but
do you be more relaxed, just chilling?
Yes, in the whole scheme of life. So they, again, don't tend to be necessarily the ones to talk about this all the time. It's more, yeah. So hopefully that makes some sense. But definitely there are levels. It is like a school. We, some of us go through, we can skip a grade or go faster than others. And you know, there's a lot of different lifetimes, a lot of different, and can we learn to work through karma? Do we need to hold that onto that? Do you feel like you have to work through your karma, or do you feel like there are other ways you can deal with it?
Yeah, I think that resonates with my next question, because I was going to ask you. So when so if we plan our lives, and we plan kind of the challenges that we're going to have to actually help us to grow.
Yes.
So when we because I work with hypnotherapy, so I see this all the time, all the trauma that people have from early lifetime. So we get thrown into a body, we get born, and then we have all this stuff happens, and that creates the belief systems that we go through the whole life with. But when we start to do like energy work or hypnotherapy or anything that we really start to work, do we help the soul to evolve faster, or do we shift the plans, or how does it work?
My firm belief is that the plans are never set in stone, that there are places in your lifetime where you have a lot of choice. At least I know in my lifetime that's what happens. I'm like, okay, where's the plan? My guidance is always, well, this part is not scripted. You get to choose whatever you're going to do. So that's one aspect of it for sure, that sometimes there is a concrete plan. I think we come in with themes that we're supposed to work on. And then depending on the situations that happen, that's how we get to one path or another. When we start coming into ideas and working with more energy related mechanisms, I do firmly believe we can evolve faster.
Yeah.
As long as we're doing it from a place of integrity. Because if we're not, let's say we are working with energy, but we're doing it from a place of control. Like, okay, I want you to do this for me, or I just want the money, or I just want, to me, those are things that can take us out of integrity. And when that happens, I'm not sure we grow at that same rate, or even the people that we're working with grow at the same rate. I'm hoping they do, but I think we have more work to do if we get stuck in our integrity waivers.
Yeah.
So I'm really big on that. That's why daily I talk to whatever the universe, whatever you want to call that, the source, saying, yeah, you know, how can I be of service? How can I be a light? How can I shine my light more? And how can I, fulfill my needs here as a human while doing this?
And this is what, don't you think that more and more people come to this sort of awareness, because we're speaking about coming more from the heart and more out of love than from fear?
Yes.
Because when we have all the fears and those limiting beliefs, that creates all the badness in the world, I believe. And when we can come from love, that starts to create something totally different, right?
Absolutely. And when you're talking about it, what I see is different vibrations. You have the lower vibrations where you're thinking about, oh my God, you know, I can't believe I just did that. I'm such a whatever, you know, you fill in the blank, you know, and we come from judgment, whether it's judging ourselves or judging others. And when we come from that place, it's always a place of fear.
Yeah.
Because when we judge ourselves or judge others, there's something we're fearful of. So that's also a wonderful exercise for people somewhere on this path, is when you find yourself judging either yourself or someone else, know that that's fear. And where is that fear coming from? And when we come from love, those judgments aren't there. We may observe and notice that people do certain things, but we're not there judging. Like, you know, and sometimes even my brain, I think to myself, am I judging or am I observing?
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that like the energy is more of observing, because if it is an energy of judgment, then that's a good thing for me to know so that I can work on it.
Yeah.
So completely, I see the different, and I feel the different energies. The lower vibration keeps us down here in that kindergarten, first grade, whatever level. And then when we get up, I think we're meant to work together. I think we each have our gifts to bring, and that there's room for all of us. Yeah. That the competition doesn't need to be there, because I think competition really brings the energy down.
Yes, definitely.
And yeah, so yeah, I love that question. That one gets me totally excited, because I like literally see the differentiation, and I feel the lower vibration versus the higher vibration.
Yeah, and that when you told that to me, you said like there is nothing right and there is nothing wrong. That totally took all the judgments away, and that was so relieving, because especially if we have that male energy and we are so like controlling, we judge so much, right? And
yeah.
Just by taking that away, and I kept hearing your voice like in my head, there's nothing right or nothing wrong.
Oh, I'm so glad that resonated with you,
Yeah.
because it's true. It's so true, because no matter the path we take, we have an opportunity to learn. And that's really what it's about, being human. Can we take those opportunities to learn? And a lot of people aren't ready to learn. They don't have the door open, not even a crack. And that's why they stay where they're at.
Yeah. Yeah, because we all have a choice if we are actually going to be, because so many people do raise their consciousness right now. Yes. in the world we're living in, and some people are just going to choose to stay. Is that Nancy, when we go from the third to the fifth dimension?
You know, I think there's more to it, to be honest. Yeah. I think, oh, that was interesting. I don't even know what that was, but that something in my kitchen just went, that's fascinating.
Is nobody at home at your place?
So I'm home alone. My kids are out. My partner's not here. It feels like they're like, oh, Nancy, this is important for you to know. We're just getting your attention. I really think there's more to it. I think that there is a portal, so to speak, like a doorway from the third to the fifth dimensions. And, you know, I talk to the fifth dimension pretty much daily. Sometimes, you know, okay, at least 5 times a week, put it that way. And it's an energy. So it's when we can get to that vibration, because these energies, these dimensions are always around us. It's when we can shift. And I actually think, for me personally, this is how it works. So I'm at this certain bandwidth, right? And I keep opening these doors. And instead of shifting up to a bandwidth, I just keep growing. The bandwidth gets wider. So I can access these different portals, these different layers. So again, I'm not sure it's just going from third to fifth. I think at least for some of us, maybe all of us, it's that widening of the bandwidth so that we can access all of them. Yeah. And because I do believe, and I'm getting like this kind of, I see someone nodding as I'm talking, because I do believe that we need to communicate between these different dimensions in order for all of us to keep growing.
Yeah. A friend of mine, because I started to read about the fifth dimension, and I started to hear about it, so it really resonated with me, and I thought it was fascinating. And one of those friends that are back in my life right now said to me, like, Linda, sometimes it's like you're living in your own world, or it's like you're having your own dimension, and I'm not really sure where you're coming from, but there's just so much, it's just different. And I said, yeah, that's my pink world. But it really feels like that. It really feels like my pink world.
Yes. And that's fabulous. And when you learn how to go from your pink world to whatever other world, then that's where you really expand, and you can relate to more and more people, if that makes sense. Because your pink world, I even see it. your pink world, it's so beautiful, and it definitely attracts a lot of people, but not a lot of people know how to get there. They don't have the steps to help them get to where you are.
No, I get all sweaty just by we talking about this. It's like super cool.
I love this. I love these questions. It's so beautiful that you're asking and inquiring, and it helps me too to kind of really remember, where am I coming from? What is my knowledge, and where do I need to pull in more of my wisdom? Because I do believe we all have our wisdom, and it comes when we need it and when we're ready.
Yeah, and exactly that thing as you say right now, when we are ready. Because when I found you, actually the second time I found you, that was when I contacted you. So I did find you like 2 or 3 months before I contacted you. I did find you. I didn't do anything with the information. And then I think I got an email from you or something, like from your email list. And then I was ready. I wasn't ready before. And it's just so interesting.
It is fascinating. I will tell you, there are quite a few people who find me and then sit on it for a couple months. Yeah. And then they reach out, whether it's for a one-on-one session or what have you. Yeah. And I really feel like, and again, I get tingly as I see this, there's something that they're testing out. They're trying to test out the waters to see if it does resonate with them. Is this, am I ready? Because as you know, your world can change rapidly. So am I ready for these changes? Do I have, can I open that door? Can I, it's fun to hear that you say that you found me, yet that wasn't really when you contacted me. And some people right away, they find me, and that day they're in contact with me somehow.
And I mean, that when people are ready, I must say, it's not, you told me it's not going to be an easy journey, because we were talking about that self-love aspect. And I remember that point when we were updating contracts with people.
Yes.
And when we were about to end that conversation, I felt so empty inside. And because we have moved a lot of people away.
Yep.
And I asked you, I was like, so who will I be when I don't have all these people in my energy? And you said, well, that's the work you got to do. You got to start to love yourself. And that was a hard thing to hear.
Yes, isn't it?
And that journey hasn't been easy. It's been the most beautiful journey I've ever done in my whole life. But some days it's been really, really hard. But somewhere along that journey, I've had your voice in my head the whole time.
Oh, I'm so glad, because it really is self-love. That's the potion, I believe, for everything. Wow. If we can love ourselves, then everything shifts. Yeah. And we're not brought up to love ourselves. Are you kidding? It's quite the opposite. So it takes effort. It takes a change in consciousness, and it really, it can happen though. And one thing I wanted to add about, and I'm thinking about you and then how you found me and stuff. I do hold a certain vibration in my website, and I make an intention and put the energy in there. Mm-hmm. And so that, I think, is part of what people gravitate towards. Mm-hmm. And then it's a different, whenever I work with someone, I hold that energy too, in a different way as well. When I'm working with someone, there's always this energy of love that I hope that comes across in
it really does.
Yeah, because that's what I feel like I'm here to do. And believe me, every day I work on my stuff, the self-love, you name it, because we are human, and we all have our triggers.
Yeah. So many people, as you say, they have no self-love at all. So if somebody's watching this and they're like, okay, so how shall I even start to like myself? What is the first step people can take?
To me, if I were working with someone one-on-one, I may say something different. But if I'm thinking like on a global level, is there one thing that you can compliment yourself on? And if that's too out there, then literally like just start to get to know your body. Feel it, touch it, say hello. because again, it's bringing that intention inward instead of always being outward. Yeah. And it can be really subtle and really small. And if someone is so, for lack of a better word, stuck in where they're at, then I feel that these little, you have to start somewhere. But it may be just planting the seed. And they may, a week down the line, a month down the line, a year down the line, remember, oh my gosh, Nancy said this, and then someone else said this. Okay, it's time for me to really feel what it's like to be in my body, to feel like, to really notice how much I use food or the internet or alcohol or whatever to stay away and not get to know myself. Yeah. Because it is that it's knowing ourselves. That's what self-love is about.
Yeah. Because we numb so much. And I'm gonna say this now in front of the camera, because no judgment, but I used both sex and alcohol to numb, before. And absolutely. I remember you and I was talking about this, and I really want to encourage people to, if they have that kind, we all do so much to damage ourselves and to not be able to feel.
Yeah.
And I remember us talking about that, to allow and really listen in. And this is when you were asking me to ask my inner child, because you said there was so much sadness in that inner child. So what is that inner child, and how would you describe the aspect? Because before you and I were talking about it, I had never heard about the inner child.
To me, the inner child is that young aspect of ourselves. So that aspect, so at each age, we are who we are. And it comes together. But we also have these memories and these parts of us that can stay in that young aspect, where especially if we didn't get what we needed during those ages, I guess is one way to put it. And so the inner child, I really feel, holds the key to our life. Because when we can go back and we can, some people call it reparent, when we can reparent and nurture that inner child and acknowledge that inner child for what she's looking for, what she needed, then our world opens up. Like you were talking about with the journaling, and oh my gosh, 2.5 hours later, I had no idea I wrote this much or what I was writing, and it surprised you. Absolutely. And that's because she had a lot to say, and you were able to allow her to do that and to open up this doorway. So I truly believe our inner child has the key, or the sets of keys, if you want to have a lot of them, to open these doors for us. Because maybe it is about something that happened to us when we were young. And, do you need to remember the memories? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe you just need to know that, oh my gosh, I can fill myself with love. I can let go of these other energies. They don't need to be with me anymore. I mean, there's so many ways to work with it, but I do believe it's key to our growth. Yeah. And I also believe that we can carry things from other lifetimes. So sometimes the inner child can be tapping into those other lifetimes, and that's what can keep us stagnant and really make it more challenging to grow. And there are ways to work on that.
Yeah. So, that's really, really cool. And I did actually a past life regression just not long ago at all. It was just super cool. And I used to have this really fear of giving birth. And I remember talking to you about triplets. I said, I'm quite sure I'm going to have triplets. And in that past life that I went back to, I got married with the love of my life. And then I was pregnant with triplets. And when I was going to have those triplets, when I was going to give birth, the husband, he really, really loved me, but he didn't, he always wanted to take care of me, like physically. And that was the time he realized that during the pain of labor, he would not be able to rescue, he would not be able to really support me, and he couldn't support me on that emotional level. So he just took off. So he just left me. the day before I was going to have the triplets. And that broke my heart so much. So during the time I had the kids, when I was giving birth, my soul decided to leave my body. So I died during that process because of my broken heart.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that was just beautiful to realize, how much we can actually carry on into this life.
It really, yes, it happens. I mean, I see it in the work that I do, and I'm so glad that you were able to get in touch with that. And because once we are in touch with that, and we can, have some acceptance around it, and sometimes even forgiveness around it, and we can move it out and move on, it makes a world of difference.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
How?
I know, it's super, super cool, and it's so fascinating, the work you do with energies and with spirits, with channeling, what I do with hypnotherapy. It's just amazing, and it goes like so well together, all of this.
I agree. Well, to me, it's all different forms of energy medicine, and it's a way of working with the energy, and bringing awareness and bringing healing through that energy shifting.
Yeah. So just, if you should really like encourage people to come from the heart, because it is scary to come
Yes.
from the heart and making those decisions. So what is your best advice? Because that's when we are our truth.
Yes, to stay with it. If you don't feel it right away, keep going. It's an intention, because the intention, again, is a higher vibration. When we intend to come from the heart, then that's huge. And I know for some people it happens right away, and for others it takes more time. There may be fears associated with it, but I truly believe it's a huge intention, making it like, all right, I'm intending to come from my heart. I'm going to catch those thoughts, my analytical brain, and I'm going to bring it into my heart. How might that feel? And if that, there's even another exercise I'm going to say here that I love to do. And I think this is one way that some people can definitely get in touch with their heart. And it's something I call, talking with your 110-year-old self. And one client I know uses the 98-year-old self because 110 didn't work for her. So make the age you want, but it's basically talking with your wise self. You go into a very sacred space. Maybe it's an Egyptian pyramid, maybe it's a beautiful home that and you sit there and you invite your 110-year-old self to be there with you. So your wise self, and you can ask questions to your wise self. And the key here is to sit in silence and wait for the answers.
Yeah.
So that's one way. I mean, if someone is too hard to try and figure out, oh my gosh, how do I come from my heart? That's one way to help, because it does help open up those lines of communication in terms of, well, I call it intuition. You can call it your gut instinct, but that will help you to get in touch with your heart.
Yeah. And it makes you so much more happy. From what I can, when we had our sessions, you and I recorded them, and I've been going through them quite a lot, actually, because I just wanted to hear your voice and everything you told me.
Yeah.
When I looked at them the other day, I just realized that I looked dead. I looked like there was nothing. and since after the work we have done and I've done, it's like I've come to life. And it really feels like that. I started, when I came from my heart and I listened to that inner child after I've been journaling and the stuff she wanted, and I started to do, and I started to connect with the old friends and everything that she was missing. It changed so much. All of a sudden, I started to work out. I started to do yoga. I started to get up 5 in the mornings because I had all this energy coming to life.
Oh, and I love that. And there is, here's how I see it from an energetic perspective, is that we each have our own unique essence energy. So no one else on this planet is going to have the same energy, and no other spirit anywhere is going to have the same energy. So when we clear the way and we, like, you know, you were saying you were moving out energies. I feel empty now. What am I going to fill myself up with? Well, when you start filling yourself up with your own unique essence energy, literally you glow. Like you are alive. And that's exactly what you've done. So kudos. It's beautiful to witness. Yeah.
It really, really is. So just a last question before I leave you off with your beautiful day in America. If people are in a stage where they have probably know that they wanted something for so long time, then they start to doubt, like, is this the right thing for me actually? And all of a sudden they don't know. And they just don't know. What are the steps to take? Is it just to accept that they don't know, or should we do something else?
Actually, well, yes. The short answer is yes. It is, can you sit in that unknowing place, in that doubt? Can one other thing that I would invite people to do is literally sit down at a table and invite your doubt to tea. What is your doubt telling you? Because in that doubt, there are fears. Maybe you're not worthy of this. Maybe you're scared that your life will change because you don't know what's going to happen. There's so much to it, but it is about accepting, because when we can accept that doubt, then we can invite it to tea with us and we can listen to it, because it has a lot of information for us. And if we want to listen to the information and work with it, that's going to help us grow.
And that journaling process is a fantastic process, right?
It is for many people. Every once in a while, there's someone that journaling is not their mode, but for them, I mean, moving your body is another way that really helps people. I remember having one teacher who told me, Nancy, you do your work while you're walking. You know, you have to be moving. And that's true. I'm out hiking a lot. I move my body a lot. I always have. And that's just my energetic makeup. And, you know, sometimes the best aha moments come to me when I'm moving my body. So journaling is excellent for many, many people. And then there are other modalities that can help as well.
That's fantastic. I believe people will love this interview because of all the lovely stuff that you have said. And, you know, people are just gonna be able to open that door a little bit, hopefully. And in the description below here, I'm gonna write about your fantastic book and where they can find you. And I just would recommend everybody to do this virtual work.
Oh, yes. And thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me to do this. This was so fun. And it's so beautiful to see this transformation that you've gone through. And you really are glowing. I mean, it's phenomenal. It makes my heart sing. I feel like, I mean, this is my work. This is my service to the world, is to be a guide and to remind people that we have everything we need.
Yeah.
Can we open that door? And even if we need to, like, you know, spread ourselves out and have one hand opening one door and one hand opening another, and if that's the way it needs to be, then that's fine. Yeah.
Everything is fine. No right or no wrong.
100%. I believe that. And then if we can learn from it. That's the biggest lesson, is we can learn from whatever we choose.
Thank you so much, Nancy. I love you so much. It was absolutely fantastic to see you again.
Yes, you too, Linda. Namaste. What a beautiful, like I said, what a beautiful journey you've had. And it's been so beautiful to witness it. So thank you for letting me be on this part of your journey.
I am so grateful. I'm so grateful. I talk to everybody like you are my best friend. I'm like, Nancy said, Nancy did. And it's like, you remember Nancy? I told you about Nancy.
Oh, I love that. I'm so glad, because it's these connections happen, and it's when we're ready, we blossom.
Yes. Have a fantastic day, and I really hope that we see each other very soon again.
Absolutely, and sleep well, because you've got a few hours on me.
Exactly. Yeah, so we'll go to bed in a few hours. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye for now.
Bye for now.